I'm being joined on the program by financial analyst Kola Ogunleye. Good morning to you, Kola. Thank you so much for coming in this beautiful Friday morning.
Yeah, thank you very much, Harriet.
It's an interesting way for us to start the weekend, knowing that, probably by the end of today, you might be buying Naira, if you go to the streets, that is, to buy the Naira, you'll be buying it for slightly higher. And there's been a lot of conversation as to why, the parallel market seems to be widening from where the, official rate is at 197. But do you think it's unconnected to the fact that, the CBN and the banks have, come up with this suspension of, being able to make dollar cash deposits?
Well, thank you very much. I think we need to look at this issue from the perspective of the overall monetary policy stance of the Central Bank of Nigeria at this point in time. They are still trying to manage the dollar-naira exchange rate. You will agree with me that the decision by the bank themselves to stop, collecting dollars from their customers, it was born out of the fact that the issue of dollarization of the economy is expressly prohibited in the enabling law of the central bank. But there is a window that was open for people. That's a domiciliary account. And you are not supposed to put there more than $10,000. But you know that in this country, hitherto, anything goes. So people pile dollars into their domiciliary account for all kinds of purposes. And then it is used for round tripping, speculation, and all of that. And at a point, it was even the commercial banks themselves that decided that, look, we have had enough of it. Because when you have excess Naira in your vault, you can take it to the central bank and get value for it. But if you have excess dollars in your vault, you can't do anything to it. The only thing you can do to it is to play around with it.
But why do you think there's so much outrage at the fact that, Nigerians can't make their dollar cash deposits anymore? Because it's a very laudable thing that the central bank is trying to do. In the last 1 year, we've seen, forex tightening from the BDCs to how much banks can keep and the rest of it. And as you've just mentioned, it's part of, a monetary policy tool. Yeah. And some analysts have actually talked about the fact that this is the right step in the right direction for the CBN. But Nigerians don't seem to understand that.
No, Nigerians can't understand that way because you're already used to a system that is so laissez-faire. And, you have a situation where most of the laws are just there, nobody implements them. But when there is a problem like this, when there is a crisis point, you need to look at all the leakages, you need to plug them, you need to look at most of the ways people, try to manipulate the system, exploit the system against the corporate interest of Nigeria. And I'm saying that if we count the number of people that are complaining about domiciliary account and what they are complaining about, how many of them can actually come out to say that's what they are doing?
But some of them actually have genuine reasons.
Fine, those people with genuine reasons to put money in their domiciliary account have been exempted from some of these measures. For example, oil and gas companies who have export proceeds that they have to put in the domiciliary account were exempted from it. Let us look at the issue critically. What exactly is the problem of the dollar-naira exchange rate, and how do we tackle it? No doubt about it, central bank has not been strategic enough. There is a lot of policy somersaults. You say something today, another thing happens tomorrow. So their most essential quality, they are trading it away, which is credibility and consistency, and then predictability.
But then they have been consistent with regards
Let me say this one.
tighten the news on forex policies.
Yeah, but one thing is very clear. If you say today, these are the range of policy measures you are pushing out, you must be able to see that through. We are not yet out of the 41 items that were exempted from access to foreign exchange. Before you know it, Nigerians say, oh, we cannot operate domiciliary account again. You cannot put money to domiciliary account. By tomorrow morning, something else happened. So there is this feeling that they are not coming out straight on what they want to do.
But
and what the governor said, let me say what the governor of central bank said is that they are not the ones that are rejecting their money. It is the commercial banks that are rejecting it. And the explanation is that you put the money there, it's running to $1 billion in Nigerian banks. He now posed the question, how many banks in the United States or in Britain have Naira in their vaults? What are you doing with that? So there is a lot of things that is going on in Nigeria right now because of the new government and its orientation. about corruption and all of that. And so when you have a lot of money somewhere, you are trying to convert it to dollar and put it in your DOM account. And so the rate at which those monies are coming into the bank became alarming. And that was the hope. We got to stop it here, because otherwise we'll be taken as part of the ring that is, encouraging corruption. That's one aspect. The other aspect is that how does it affect the margin? I mean, the gap that you talked about, the gap between the dollar exchange, the official exchange rate, and the other one. You will find out that right now it's closing it in a way. Some people say, some analysts have expressed the opinion that it's a temporary thing. But I can tell you something: if the attitude to the dollar, the domiciliary account is continued the way it is continuing, we might see a situation where most of the money that is used to fund the parallel markets, illegally, are removed from there, because it's a shallow market, mind you. It's a very small percentage of the market, but that is what Nigerians quote most of the time, because that is what the average person who need dollar, because I don't, you have to go and take from this, from that. So they don't go there. They go to the malang on the streets, at Yaba, at CMS, at Agege, and all of that. That's where they get their dollars. So the price they quote is not even the 190 something.
But then you see, it's really funny, because I remember I had a conversation with Bosun at one time, and he was talking about people burying their dollars, whether under the ground or under their mattresses and the rest of it. So these ones will bring out the dollars and take it to the market. And so the liquidity, they're trying to stifle, dollar supply to the parallel markets is almost being defeated, because you still have people who have it hidden somewhere who are bringing it and flooding the market.
My sister, how do I know whether it is having effect or not? The effect I want to know is how it translates to the exchange rate ultimately. If they are burying it under, they have a bunker in their house, or they are burying it under their pillow, it is when they push it into the market and they attempt to spend it, that's when there's a problem. Or they decide to use it to fund the other market. So if that is not reflected yet, if the situation we have right now is that the naira, the exchange rate is closing up, let us assume for now that what the policy, it's not even a policy, it's just a decision by the commercial bank to say, we are not taking this much again. Our vaults are filled up, and they can't take it to the central bank. Traditionally, in the banking system, when you have excess cash in your vault, you take it to the central bank and you get value for that. But in the case of the dollar, they cannot do that. So it's already becoming a problem for them. You're talking about $1 billion. Another problem is that if you have dollars now and you keep it and you are hiding it somewhere, you need to watch what is happening in the international scene. Look at what has happened in the last 3 days to the yuan. Because a lot of people were caught unawares. But those who are watching the global economy are not caught unawares, because the yuan and the dollar are in a race. Yuan wants to become part of the global reserve currency system, and they need to do certain things. So if they do those things, how does it affect your dollar that you are keeping somewhere? So we need to be careful, because the faith in the dollar itself, it's going to be, it may be shaking going forward. So what you need to do is to work together to strengthen the Nigerian economy, the productive sector. And that's why we are saying that if you look at the financial sector in the country, well, fine. You can do anything with your currency, you can tinker with it, but ultimately, it is your productivity. It is your productive capacity. It is the amount of work that your people can put into the economy. That is why China can do what it's doing. It's, I want to export my, what are we going to export if we devalue? Because some people are saying that instead of the central bank doing all that he's doing right now, why don't you not go for outright devaluation? But there is a natural devaluation that has happened. Immediately the price of oil falls, the dollar goes up, and your currency goes down. And that has happened by about 22%, which has already happened. So what they are trying to do now is to make sure that it doesn't go further down, because we are not an export-oriented country. And
so going forward, it's a weekend, as I already mentioned, and a lot of people are going to be doing a lot of spending. Some will be traveling, those who want to travel, because we're still in the summer season. Yeah. So what should Nigerians be doing? Should Nigerians continue to give the regulator and the lenders knocks, or they should just relax and understand what's actually going on?
Yeah, I think one of the first lessons of these hard times is that we need to tighten our belt. Unfortunately, like I said the other time, the fiscal authorities are not talking yet. Because what is happening is that Nigerians are still seeing what is happening within the currency exchange rate system as just an isolated event. it is connected with the whole direction of the economy itself. The economy is in dire straits. Like I said, it's not doing well. A lot of countries are doing a lot of things about their economy. They are tinkering with their history. We cannot afford a highly liberalized foreign exchange situation in Nigeria. We don't have anything. We export only one commodity. The price is going southwards every day. So what Nigerians should do as they approach the weekend and they travel for summer and pay their children's school fees is to realize that things are changing. And then to reorientate their value system and their behavioral system in a way that encourages a domestic economy. We cannot continue to be outwardly focused. There's still the BTA, mind you, $5,000 or whatever. But it may not be enough, but we need to manage. Even as we are speaking now, the most exposed, the most open economies are doing something about their exchange rate. They are trying to see what they can do about it. What we should be watching is how does it affect the man on the street? What exactly, because if we look at this elitist-oriented economy, which is about the elites, and they are the ones that are talking about foreign exchange is going up, they don't have a dumb account. What happens to the millions of youths that are on the street without job? How does the exchange rate policy encourage manufacturers? Because those are the people I would have loved us to talk about, the manufacturers that are complaining. That those 41 items, yes. But the guy said they won't do anything about it now.
It's a developing story, Kola, but let's leave it at that for today. So food for thought. We're going to have that in mind the next time we have you here to have this conversation. But thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.